police are still trying to piece together the deadly events that span parts of Herkimer County this week. Kurt Myers was shot and killed yesterday morning when a SWAT team stormed the abandoned bar that he was hiding out in. Myers shot and killed 4 people on Wednesday before beginning his 15-hour standoff with police. We've been in Herkimer County since this story broke earlier in the week, and that's where we find our Matt Markham. He is live in Mohawk. And Matt, what are you finding out? What are the neighbors telling you about this guy?
Liz, I was just talking to another one of those neighbors about 5 minutes ago, right before we were going to go on here at noon, and he was telling me that he was doing a little bit more research online last night, whatever he could find out about Mr. Myers. He could not find out a whole lot about him, but there is still an uneasy tension in this town, thinking about what did happen yesterday. What we're in front of is Mr. Myers' house that we're told he shared through an apartment kind of setup. There were some other apartments in this house, 2 young families. The neighbor next door just said to me, you know, look at the damage behind this house, and there's also a grill with a propane tank back there. He says that things could have been a whole lot worse in this neighborhood before Mr. Myers' day of terror began. Of course, that would have been Wednesday. We understand that Mr. Myers was 64 years old. He worked with a man by the name of Steve Copperwheat at a textile manufacturing plant in nearby Herkimer. When I spoke to him yesterday, he said that Mr. Myers was hyper but smart. He was a machine operator at that textile plant, which has since relocated to Utica. He said he left on his own accord a couple of years ago. He was not fired. There wasn't an incident other than Mr. Myers said that he had hurt his shoulder at one point. Of course, recapping what happened here yesterday, there are 4 dead. It started, this day of terror started at the barber shop, which is right down the street from where we are now. But so much violence from a quiet man that neighbors here are reflecting on, including a woman who her own mother lived down the street from us here, and all of these incidents have changed her outlook on this quiet town. The fact that your kids play outside, though, down the street from where he lived, it's got to be a little alarming.
It's pretty scary. I don't think I'm going to let them outside unless I'm out anymore.
We understand also there was a vigil here in Mohawk last night to remember those who were killed and injured by Mr. Myers' alleged rampage here earlier in the week. Also this morning I was speaking to that man who worked with Mr. Myers, said he worked with him for about 20 years. He's now in Utica. That's where we'll be headed after this to talk to him to try to find out a little bit more of who this man is. One man who changed the course of life in these towns for a couple thousand people. For now, we're live in Herkimer County in the village of Mohawk. Matt Markham, CBS 6 News.
All right, Matt, thank you. Well, yesterday on our Facebook page, we asked you if there was anything our government could do to prevent situations like this from happening. Close to 400 of you shared your thoughts. Francis writes in, once again, law-abiding persons will be blamed for a criminals act. We have gun laws aplenty. They haven't stopped the criminals. Colleen writes, stop asking the government to control everything. People have to start taking responsibility for their own lives. And Robbie wants the government to focus on mental health, saying, obviously there are issues involved. A gun by itself will never hurt anyone. And we're learning more about the dog that was killed in this standoff. The New York State Police canine's name was Ape and had just finished his training a month ago. This was just his 2nd mission. Ape's name is now going to be added to a military memorial wall in Virginia. CBS 6 was the first in the area to break this story on Twitter. You can follow us there and like us on Facebook for more updates. And we will have all the breaking news for you on those 2 social media.